Hi, I'm Nancy Schlachter, Executive Director of the Cambridge Human Rights Commission. Who is the Cambridge Human Rights Commission? The Cambridge Human Rights Commission is the local enforcement agency for the city's two anti-discrimination ordinances, the Fair Housing Ordinance and the Human Rights Ordinance. It is a city department and is located at 51 Inman Street, second floor. In addition to investigating complaints of discrimination that occurred in Cambridge, the Commission provides community outreach and cooperates with other city, state, and federal anti-discrimination agencies. The Commission is available to conduct workshop presentations on fair housing and employment discrimination for community groups, social service agencies, and schools in Cambridge. The Human Rights Commission has 3 full-time employees, an executive director, an attorney investigator, and an office manager / program coordinator. The Commission also has 11 volunteer commissioners, all Cambridge residents, who are representative of the diversity of Cambridge, who serve for 3-year terms. When there are vacancies on the Commission, they are posted on the city website. The Commission meets once a month on the first Thursday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. Meetings are open to the public. During the pandemic, the meetings are held on Zoom, and the public can link to the Zoom through the city calendar on the city website. Persons who have experienced discrimination in Cambridge can reach out to the Commission to file a complaint. There is no cost to file a complaint. Parties do not need to hire an attorney to represent them, but can choose to do so at their own expense. Persons who believe they have been discriminated against in Cambridge can submit initial intake information through an online intake form, which is now available in English, Spanish, Haitian Creole, Arabic, Amharic, Bengali, Chinese, and Somali, as well as in person, currently by appointment, and by phone. The Human Rights Commission has been deemed by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, as a substantially equivalent agency for federal fair housing complaints. As a result, Human Rights Commission housing cases are dual filed with HUD and investigated by the Human Rights Commission's attorney investigator under the supervision of the executive director, who is also an attorney. Discriminatory acts must have occurred in Cambridge within 180 days, roughly 6 months, of the date the complaint is filed. If a matter brought to the Commission is not within its jurisdictional authority, Commission staff will work to identify resources that may be available to assist with the matter. What types of complaints does the Human Rights Commission investigate? The Human Rights Commission investigates complaints of discrimination in housing, employment, and public accommodations. A public accommodation is any business or other establishment that provides goods and services to the public. Examples are hotels, restaurants, retail stores, shopping malls, hospitals, restrooms, parks, theaters, gymnasiums, and transportation terminals. The Commission acts as a neutral investigative agency and does not represent either party. The parties are complainants and respondents. Discrimination complaints encompass unfair actions taken against complainants because of their membership in a protected class. The protected classes recognized in Cambridge are the following: sex, sexual orientation, race or color, national origin or ancestry, disability, family status, religion, military status, age, source of income, including government benefits, marital status, and gender identity. The types of housing complaints that we investigate are refusal to rent or renew, false representations about availability of housing, steering people to particular units or locations, different terms or conditions of rental or services, harassment, intimidation, threats, or coercion, discriminatory statements or advertisements, failure to provide reasonable accommodation or allow reasonable modifications to persons with disabilities. And finally, retaliation for participating in the Human Rights Commission's process. For any of the above, because of complainant's protected class or classes. The types of employment complaints we investigate are disparate treatment, examples of which are in terms or conditions of employment, training opportunities, promotions, and the like. Hostile work environment, examples of which are derogatory comments made about someone's protected class, failure to hire based on protected class, retaliation, disability, failure to accommodate, termination, and two types of sexual harassment. The first of which is hostile environment, example of which is enduring severe or pervasive sexually offensive comments, and quid pro quo harassment, when one's employment, pay, benefits, title, position, or other opportunities for advancement or training are conditioned on the submission to unwelcome sexual advances. Any of the above because of the complainant's protected class. And finally, the types of public accommodation complaints we investigate are denial of service or entry, restricting or limiting service, disparate treatment, failure to reasonably accommodate a person with a disability, and hostile environment, including harassment or intimidation based on one's protected class. And again, any of the above because of the complainant's protected class. What is the Human Rights Commission's investigative process? The attorney investigator investigates complainants' allegations of discriminatory treatment through the following methods: interviewing the complainant at intake and ongoing, drafting a complaint which is reviewed and signed by the complainant under the penalties of perjury, serving the complaint on respondents, for example, a landlord, property manager, employer, or other party who is alleged to have discriminated in some way, interviewing witnesses identified by both parties, reviewing relevant documents such as leases, email, and written communications, asking questions orally and or in writing of persons with knowledge of relevant facts, reviewing relevant case law. The attorney investigator endeavors to conciliate or mediate the dispute between the parties at various stages throughout the process. Both parties have to agree to mediate or it cannot take place. Mediation before a determination is final enables the parties to mutually agree to terms to address the complaint and its impacts without relying on a third party to decide the outcome. The attorney investigator will draft a determination at the conclusion of the investigation as to probable cause or lack of probable cause that discrimination occurred. If probable cause is found, a human rights commissioner endeavors to conciliate a mutually acceptable outcome, addressing the complainant's particular concerns and including public interest provisions, such as training for respondents and their staff about anti-discrimination laws, changes in discriminatory procedures or policies, posting of notices about the Human Rights Commission at a rental office or other business office. Agreement to end the discriminatory treatment and possible financial remedy for the complainant. If probable cause is found in a housing case that is dual filed with HUD, either party can elect to remove the matter to the Attorney General's office. In such an instance, the Attorney General's office will represent the public interest, endeavor to conciliate, and will file the case in Superior Court if warranted. If lack of probable cause is found, the case is dismissed. To contact the Cambridge Human Rights Commission, you can call us at 617-349-4396 or send an email to HRC@CambridgeMA, all one word, .gov, G-O-V, or go to the Commission's website at www.cambridgema.gov/departments/Human Rights Commission. An online intake form can be filled out through the website. You will be contacted by Commission staff to follow up on your intake and ascertain whether your complaint is within the Commission's jurisdiction.